Welcome to another episode of China Update, where I provide you guys with the most up-to-date political, economic and geostrategic analysis on the world's number 2 economy. My name is Tony. Let's jump in. Okay, happy Wednesday everybody. I've arrived in Bangkok, Thailand for a few days to meet with clients. I hope to enjoy some of the sights and some of the food too while I'm here. I just wanted to let you know that I am traveling, so there may be some disruptions to the regular scheduling of episodes. Hopefully there will be no issues and they will continue to be uploaded on time, but there is the possibility that an episode will go up late. If that happens, my apologies in advance, but I will endeavor to make sure all episodes go up as usual at the correct time. Over the weekend, Beijing held its answer to Davos, the China Development Forum. One of the speakers at the forum was Han Wenxiu, Deputy Director of the General Office of the Central Financial and Economic Affairs Commission. On Monday, we already discussed some of Mr. Han's comments on the biggest threats facing China's medium to long-term economic growth. However, Han also touched on another theme, which we have seen several high-profile officials, including China's Premier Li Qiang, discuss in recent weeks too: increasing foreign investment. Han expressed in his speech that China is open to investment from all over the world and is offering foreign businesses the opportunity to, quote, catch big fish if they deeply engage, end quote, in the Chinese market. He added that China would continue to expand market access and promote the, quote, institutional opening up of rules, regulations and standards, end quote. In the past, the trend of foreign direct investment has more or less been positive for China. In 2022, foreign direct investment was $189 billion, up from $144 billion in 2020. However, the pandemic, zero COVID, and to some extent too political considerations, has dampened foreign investor appetite somewhat. China's large market and moderate growth will continue to be a strong drawcard. However, investors from Japan, Europe and the US are increasingly diversifying their manufacturing and supply chains away from China. Some commentators are now predicting that in the coming years we may see global firms producing for their China market within the mainland, while producing for international markets in other parts of Asia or the world. Consumer electronic brands, for example, have started allocating some orders to facilities in Vietnam and India as geopolitical tensions incentivize them to diversify. Indeed, other speakers at the just mentioned China Development Forum over the weekend seem to be anticipating this concern. Quote, China's unified domestic market is an important element in addressing the challenges of decoupling and supply chain risks. From this perspective, decoupling and breaking chains, as advocated by some people, will not succeed. End quote. Activity at major Chinese ports and industrial zones paint a somewhat different picture, however. UK-based Financial Times writes that workers in Kunshan, near Shanghai, previously one of China's busiest export hubs, quote, are struggling to get jobs as the global economic outlook weakens and tensions with the US push manufacturers to relocate facilities outside China. End quote. Known as China's richest county due to its high wages for manufacturing, factory owners and logistics groups told the outlet that companies are greatly cutting back on activity there, primarily in response to falling exports. Factory headcounts have shrunk and companies have cut hourly wages by up to a third. Foxconn Kunshan now requires applicants for entry-level positions to be under 40 years of age, compared with 45 years of age just a year ago. With such a labour glut, they can afford to be more choosy now. In January, Kunshan's mayor said that the county expected $1.1 billion of foreign investment in 2023, down from $1.7 billion in 2022. We should not be surprised. We have seen official numbers demonstrating for months now China's decline in exports. Chinese exports have dropped in dollar terms for 5 straight months. Part of the reason is weaker global demand generally. However, political considerations are very real too. Quote, the labour market weakness has been exacerbated by Taiwanese manufacturers, the country's biggest employer, relocating production to other countries to limit their exposure to US-China tensions. End quote. As we've seen over the last year or so, the White House sought to secure supply chains for critical electronics, resulting in many global firms reshoring operations away from China. Quote, we need to be more realistic about foreign investment and trade projections. The days of fast growth are gone for good. End quote. Commentators are now debating whether this trend will continue. Quote, "When we started the year, there was this hope that as China reopens after COVID, we would see a really strong rebound. I think we have not seen it yet. The Chinese consumer is a bit more stunned by what's happened and is not in a splurging mood right now." End quote. The head of the world's second largest container shipping group added, however, that trading volumes associated with the Chinese economy remained resilient, with little sign of negative impact from US-led efforts to decouple from China, to use his words, though others are less optimistic. Quote, "At dinner earlier this week, I asked representatives of US and EU businesses in China if increases in foreign direct investment were designed to produce for export or to produce for the domestic market, and they both said, without hesitation, that new investment was aimed at the domestic market. It will be interesting to see if this sentiment changes as the COVID-related travails get forgotten. I think it will. But for now, foreign businesses don't seem to see China as a good base from which to produce for the international market." End quote. Hey guys, if you're enjoying the episode, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribing and sharing is a big help as well. And as always, anyone who can go that extra mile, help me continue making these episodes every day. Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee links are in the description below. Thank you so much, everybody, as always, for the ongoing support. Next up, yesterday, Tuesday, Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba Group Holdings Limited unveiled a huge business overhaul under which the company will split its $220 billion business into 6 units with independent decision-making. Each new business unit will have its own chief executive and board of directors. Financing will be independent too. Commentators have compared the move to Google's restructuring as Alphabet, observing that it should free up the main divisions to operate with far more autonomy, laying the foundation for future spin-offs and market debuts. Yesterday we discussed how Alibaba's billionaire co-founder Jack Ma made his first public appearance on the Chinese mainland in more than a year on Monday. Both this appearance and this announcement send a strong sign that the worst of the government crackdown on China's technology sector generally, and Alibaba specifically, is over. Decentralization was one of Beijing's primary goals during its crackdown. Quote, "It is one step in the direction with China's policy to reduce the monopolistic nature of the tech giants. While China tech spin-offs are not uncommon, the move looks to be more encompassing, including core businesses that may serve as a blueprint for the industry going forward." End quote. Alibaba paid a fine back in April of 2021 of $2.6 billion, though this is nothing in comparison to the market value it's lost, 70% since October 2020's peak of nearly $900 billion. That is over $500 billion in value wiped out. After the restructuring announcement this week, Alibaba's US traded shares surged over 14%. Okay, that is today's episode of China Update. Thank you so much everybody for watching. Have a wonderful day wherever you are, and I will see you all tomorrow.